Hey, what is going on, guys? So today we're going to be taking a look at the Real-Grade Evangelion 01, and so we already took a look here at the LMHG model, and so I want to see how these two are going to compare. So we built and reviewed the LM model first, the LMHG model, I should say the HG. Now we'll see how that's going to compare to the Real-Grade. Now, like with the Real-Grade Unit 0, the Unit 1 here also came out in two different versions, just the standard version, which is just the Evangelion and its weapon accessories. This is the DX version that includes the transport platform set. So honestly, not that exciting of a thing. It's just like basically a stand for it to stand on. Basically, it's like the launch platform that you see in the anime a bunch. But it's a pretty cool thing to be included in there. So I'll give you guys the full review of everything in here. If you end up thinking that the platform set is like something that you really want to have included with your Eva, then you can go for the DX set. But if you don't really care too much about it, then just go for the regular one. But we've already built the Eva Unit 0, so I have a good idea about what's in store for me with this kit, even though this is actually the kit that actually came out first. It took a little while for me to get my hands on it, but let's take a look around the box here and just see what we can see. So just on the side of the box there, the same thing as what we got on the front. It just has the Eva 01 DX logo there. And then on the bottom of the box, it says that it's going to be 175 millimeters when assembled. So again, it's going to be about the same size, of course, as the Eva Unit 0, which we already saw. So it's 17.5 centimeters, puts it right about the same height as a standard Master Grade Gunpla kit, but slightly shorter. But with those tall shoulders, I'm not sure if that height is including the shoulders or not. Once again, it says it has the pursuit for realistic appearance and articulation mechanisms. Yes, as we've already seen with the Eva Unit 0, the articulation and everything is fantastic on these. It does include the entry plug system with the horrible sticker that wraps around the entry plug piece for that. Some nice articulation there with the knees and everything. You do also have the included parts for an AT field effect, so we'll see how that also compares to the HG version. The HG version also included that, but we'll see what they look like side by side. And then in there you can see just the full set, what it looks like unpainted, just built up out of the box with stickers and everything applied, and it looks pretty nice. Then going on here to the top of the box, we can see some more action posing there with the progressive knife, and you got a bunch of different hand options, of course. It's going to be pretty much the same as what was included with the Eva Unit 0, I suppose. And then it does also include the same pellet rifle, as well as again, just the AT field effect part, so we'll see how well that works as well. And then just a little note there talking about the intense part separation, color separation of the kit, how all the colors are well represented in actual parts and not needing any stickers. So again, we saw that with the Eva Unit 0. The great thing about this kit. And so, of course, as you might imagine, once again, we have a lot of parts in here, a lot of little parts, and a portion of this is going to be for just the DX set, but probably not a whole lot. It's probably like 2 or 3 runners for that. Mostly it's all parts from the actual Eva. So let's go ahead and take a look. So in here we've got 10 bags of runners, our AT field effect part, and the manual. So expecting the manual to be pretty standard real grade here. We got the image there on the front, on the back, the decal guide where all the marking stickers are going to go around that, and then on the platform there as well. Down here you got the color guide, all the colors there in Japanese and in English. Once again, just using Mr. Color for the colors for that. Up in the front we've got our parts list. It looks like we're not really going to have anything left over in parts. Doesn't really look like anything's crossed off. Where we did have a couple of leftover parts with Eva Unit 0, we don't in this case, so that's good. And then we've got some more information up here about a miraculous giant built by humanity to counter the angels. So you've got some information there about the story, I guess, in Japanese and in English, so you can check that out if you're unfamiliar. But I imagine probably most of you, if you're interested in this kit, are probably familiar with the story. So you just build up the torso and all that, just going through the construction. And once we get to page 13 here, there's more about the weapons, but this section is all in Japanese, no English for that, but it's just about the weapons, so pretty, basic. It's just about the rifle, the progressive knife, all that. Then we get to the end of the manual, building the weapons, and then it goes into the transport platform. So this is an added section to the manual that won't be in the standard version, of course. It's the last couple pages for that, how to use that, and then just how to use the AT field effect part there at the end. So here is the sticker marking sheet, and as you can see, basically these are all the ones that you would get with the standard Eva, and then these caution stripes and this big huge one here are added for the platform set. Then you got this black wire, which is going to be used for the umbilical cable on the back. It's very nice. Runner A here in that classic Evangelion purple there with just some armor parts on that. And the same thing here for runner B1 as well, just a bunch of armor parts in there in purple. Runner C1 is a bunch of our kind of inner frame parts, joint parts and things like that. The progressive knives are on here as well in that kind of metallic dark brown color. And the same thing here for runner D as well, which is just some more parts for going on the inside of the arms and legs, joints and things. And then we also have runner E, which is some more of that, all just in that same dark metallic-y brown color. Runner F1 is some parts here in red. And then runner G1 is going to be all of our green parts. And I can definitely tell you right off the bat, this is a very different color green from what's included with the HG kit. The HG kit is really neon. This is a much more dull colored green. Then H1 is a very interesting color here as well. It's sort of like a icy blue metallic dark gray kind of color. I don't know exactly how else to describe it, but it's a really interesting color here for like the top of the knuckle parts and then a couple other bits around on the body as well. Then runner I1 here are our parts in that bright orange color. It looks very nice. And then runner J, a big 4 color runner with the white part over here for the entry plug, dark metallic parts down there for like the inside of the rifle, and then that dark olive green for the outside parts of the rifle, and then all of our hand parts here in purple. And it is in like the kind of softer, not quite polycap soft, but a little bit softer plastic there for the hands. And then runner K is a kind of injected silver metallic kind of color here for basically parts for the umbilical cable, but you do have this additional part which will be omitted from the standard version, but this is added for the platform base there, a big silver part for that. Runner L is our clear red part here for the core in the chest. And then runner M is a multi-injected runner here, something we definitely didn't see with the Eva Unit 0. So we got 4 parts on here, 2 for the mid of the arms, so you have that black stripe within the green part there, 1 for the eyes, so you have the white eyes within the black part, and then 1 for the horn, so you have the green and purple parts there all molded together on one piece, so you don't need to use any stickers for the green stripes on the horn, so that's pretty awesome. And then it's just all parts for the platform base, so here we have runner XA, and these are all in this sort of olive drab kind of color. More of the same here on runner XB as well, and we've got 2 of this runner. And finally runner XC as well, and this one also we've got 2 of these. So I really enjoyed building the Eva Unit 0 and looking forward to building up this one as well. So I'm going to work on this and then we'll come back, I'll show you guys how it's going to end up looking. Alright, so here it is, and it was a lot of fun to build. Now, because I had already built the Evangelion Unit 0 first, this wasn't my first time building one, so it wasn't quite as fresh and new, although I feel like because this one came out first, if I would have built this first, it would have been a lot more exciting, but because it was basically my second time building one of these, it maybe was not as exciting as building the Eva Unit 0, but I think whatever the case is, whichever one you build first will certainly be a really exciting experience for you. Building the second one, it's not like it was boring or anything, still really fun and interesting kit to build. I just feel like it's unfortunate for me that this wasn't the first one that I built up, but anyway, it was still a lot of fun. It's a really great kit. I've heard a lot of people say that they're not really particularly happy with the proportions of this one. As much as I am a big fan of Evangelion in general, as an anime series, I love Evangelion, but I've never really been one of those that's a big stickler for like proper proportions. I think as long as it looks cool, I'm happy with it. Like the different proportions between this and the Kotobukiya kits and previous Bandai kits, even different figures and things like that. I don't get too worked up about it personally. I like the proportions of this, and so it's good enough for me, but I can understand if that's something you care about a little bit more, that might be something that maybe you're not quite as interested in this particular model. Despite how good it is as a model objectively, you might just not really be too into the proportions of it, which is fair enough, but at least in my case, that's not the case for me, so I'll just kind of ignore that aspect of the review because I just don't really care about that argument. But so with this guy, I won't go through all of the articulation in great detail because I went through all of that with the Evangelion Unit 0 in that review, and also I'll just show you guys a bunch of different poses throughout the review. You'll be able to see the articulation for yourself. The articulation is very good on this kit. There's nothing really to note, anything different really about this kit. But of course it does have the added gimmick of the opening mouth that the Eva Unit 0 doesn't have, which is pretty cool. You can open it like even further if you want, but it gets to be a little bit ridiculous if you open it too much. What's really cool though too is that on the red pieces inside there you have actually like molded detail of like teeth and a tongue in there for those little red parts, which is pretty cool, tiny little detail in that. And then once again, just like with Eva Unit 0, I'll just pop this open just so you guys can see how this opens up for the entry plug in here. You need to put the head down, raise up that part, and then the entry plug will fit right down into there. And as it comes, it's just this white piece, which will just plug down into there, and you can just close that back up, or you need to close this other part first and then close that back up. like that. Works pretty well. You have a sticker to wrap around that. It's one of these stickers, this one here, which wraps around that, but it's just kind of ridiculous to wrap this huge sticker around that part. Speaking of stickers, as you can see, I did put some of them on, not all of them. The chrome ones inside there do look pretty cool. Some of these larger ones like this don't look very good at all though. Any of the stickers like on the black parts just don't really look good there, but on the colored parts they look kind of okay. So some of the stickers are fine, most of them I wouldn't really bother with. They don't really look that good, like this one here. Side of the arm is kind of okay. But the other unique thing that this kit has that the EVA Unit 0 does not have is the pre-molded parts like we saw here for the horn, those pre-molded separated parts. So you do have a sticker if you wanted to use this other horn, which is all molded in purple. You have a sticker you could put on that, or otherwise you could just paint that, but you have this pre-molded part as well, which is really nice. Also the pre-molded part here on the side of the arm looks good, but I have the same problem with this that I had with the EVA Unit 0. When you're moving the arm around too much, it does tend to come apart either there or above there. So in this bicep does kind of tend to separate apart, either the purple and green or the green and black. Some of those parts just kind of come apart a little bit too easily, I find. And then of course the pre-molded part for the eyes as well also looks great. The basic accessories as well are going to be exactly the same as with the EVA Unit 0. You have the open knife and the folded knife, which will plug up into the shoulder for showing it like popping out of the shoulder. This one is much thinner in comparison. You have two of each. These ones also have this chrome sticker you're supposed to place here on the blade to make it look like it's got a chrome blade. Doesn't really look that good, so I just didn't really bother with it, but otherwise these are just molded all in one color. And the rifle as well looks great. I mean, the molding of this is really cool. I have the separate orange piece in there for the ammo, a separate silver piece up here for the barrel end of that as well, and then just this dark gray coming out through the just dark green there for the main body of that. Looks pretty good. I really like the detail on this. The design of this is a really nice looking rifle for this. Then our hand options are mostly the same. Once again, you have closed fists, these open expressive hands like this, these karate chop and or running hands, these knife holding hands, these rifle holding trigger finger hands, and these just kind of open resting hands like this. Now the hands that are different with this kit is that you also have a set of hands that are specifically for holding the AT field effect part, which is a great addition to this kit that the HG kit didn't have. So you just kind of had to jerry-rig it and it didn't look very convincing, but hopefully these will look a little bit better in use. As for the effect part itself, it is pretty nice. I like that it looks the same basically from both sides. It is a little bit sparklier on this side. You can see the effect is not quite as bright on this side, but it looks pretty good from both sides of that. So no matter if you're posing it with this anyway, no matter which way you're looking at the kit, it's gonna look pretty cool. Certainly a quite different effect from what we saw with the HG kit here, which is a very unique one as well. I'm not sure which one I like better. I like that this one has more color in it, which does seem to be more correct to be like that. But I really like these big sparkly colors that you got with this one here with those bits. The smaller ones in here just look a little bit more kind of just like glitter on there. But I don't know, which effect part do you guys think looks better, or more accurate, or just more cool? What do you think? And we'll get to the transport platform in just a minute. I just want to first show you guys a comparison here with the HG kit. Now you'll notice there's certainly some major differences in the colors. The green on the RG is a much more pale green compared to that super bright neon green reflected in the rebuild version of the HG there that we previously took a look at in the review. So if you want to see the full review on that kit, if you missed it, you can go back and check that out. And you can clearly see some major differences in the proportions there as well. Certainly the HG kit is much wider and I think lankier even in some ways, with the RG kit certainly being bulked out a little bit more, especially around the thighs and the midsection there. It's looking much more like human proportions, where the HG is more of like this really super thin Evangelion proportions. But as I said in the review of the HG kit, I do still think there's pros and cons to them. I do still think that the HG kit holds up pretty well for what it is. It does cost a little bit less than the RG, but I do think the RG is still probably the most bang for your buck, but the HG kit is still looking pretty cool in comparison. But of course, one last accessory that would come standard with just the regular version of this kit is the umbilical cable, which again has this plug which will plug down into your action base, which is cool. So if you're having this just standing on your regular action base, just plugs right into there. This is actually on a little ball joint there at the connection point. So that can move around a little bit there on the base, and then of course the cable works really nicely. I almost find it to be too rigid, because when I'm trying to pose the kit, sometimes I want the kit to pose like this, and then when I let go of the cable it like moves and then the whole kit will fall over. That just plugs straight into the back like that, very easy. And then yeah, you can see what I mean. I'm trying to get this pose, and you kind of have to put the cable in place where you want it to be first, because then once you let go of that, it's gonna move the kit. Like the effect of the cable on the kit is stronger than the effect of gravity on it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But anyway, that can also be used here with the transport platform here. So this thing is quite tall, taller than I expected, but I guess the Evangelion kit itself is quite tall, so it's got to be kind of tall. You got that massive sticker for the base there, and a couple other stickers which wrap around the side. Those are a lot nicer. That huge one though, I mean, I guess there's kind of no way around it, but it's just this huge massive sticker out in there. Otherwise this is just all green except for this one silver part underneath. So in that way I find it a little bit boring compared to especially the positron cannon included with Eva Unit 0 is a lot more of an exciting weapon. I mean, it does have some nice detail on there, but I mean, just compared to this, all the detail and color and everything included with this is just so much nicer. But I think the Evangelion Unit 1 is probably more popular, more exciting than the Eva Unit 0, so I guess taking the more boring Eva in the Eva Unit 0 and giving it the more exciting accessory, more people are going to buy it. If they put the more boring accessory with the more boring kit, then probably not a lot of people are going to be all that interested in it. So I guess in that way it kind of makes sense. Not to say that Eva Unit 0 is boring, I'm sure there's plenty of fans out there. I like it, and I'm sure a lot of you guys do too. But this does have some moving parts on it here. This part will slide up and down like that. This part here, this little part will slide down. It's kind of very tight, so just slide that up, slide that down, slide this part up. And I guess that's just kind of to help put the shoulders in there. And down here in the bottom of the base is where this umbilical cable will attach into there like that. And you got to stand it in a way so that the lower arm kind of slots into here and the upper arm fits into there. This massive shoulder part fits up into this top part there. But here it is all set up on the base, and I gotta say, it took some finagling. This is the first and probably the only time I'm ever gonna put this on the base in this way, because it's just not really very cool. It doesn't really look very cool. I mean, I get it. It's kind of cool in the fact that like this is like how we saw it in the anime and everything, but with this kit that has such fantastic articulation, I mean, you got to display it in some sort of action pose or something, right? To just display it like this seems like a really big waste of all the awesome engineering that went into this kit. And also, there's not really any good solid way that this is fixed onto there. It's kind of like just barely hanging onto there. The way that the shoulders and the back of the arms like fit into place, they like just barely fit into there, but there's like not really any sort of like locking mechanism for those. There's the moving parts on the stand, like I showed you, the parts like slide up and down, but it's not really for anything. It just sort of like recreate how they move in the anime, but it doesn't really help to like lock the kit into place as far as I can tell. So it's just barely on there, and this is actually at the lowest setting, and still the feet are like just barely touching the ground too. If you have anything moved in a way to raise that up, then it's just hovering off the ground as well too, which is just kind of silly. So as far as accessories go, I gotta say the transport platform, not really all that exciting, and like it's a cool kind of thing I guess for recreating scenes from the anime or something like that, but as far as it being something fun to use with this particular kit, I would say not really. But at the end of the day, I mean, you guys don't need me to tell you that this is a really cool kit. It's one of those kits where you can just tell by looking at it that you know it's going to be an awesome kit, and you see it in some different action poses and things. I mean, if there was some sort of like big problem with this kit, like the legs just fall off every time you touched it or something like that, or anything like along those lines, or just had some huge nasty seam lines all over the place, this is the kind of thing that would be pretty easy to tell. This kit doesn't really have anything like that, really. There's no big complaints I could levy against this. I mean, it's only a subjective thing. Some people might not like the design, or they might not like the colors or something like that, but objectively, there's really, I mean, this kit is great. The DX set necessarily not going to be for everyone though. I mean, like I've been saying, the base maybe not that exciting for a lot of people. I think probably just the main kit will be the really cool thing. The other cool thing though about this is that the weapons are great, and I do really like the weapons, you know, just the basic weapons with this set. It's only, the problem is that when you get the Eva Unit 0 as well, if you have the two of them together, the two kits having the exact same weapons also could be a little bit boring. I kind of wish that they would have given different weapons to different Evas. I know they, you know, in the series basically use the same weapons, but I just think it would have been nice for them to include some different weapons. I mean, these weapons really make sense for the Evas. These are like the most famous, you know, kind of weapons we've seen in this series, but I think there's some other like lesser known ones that they could have included with Eva Unit 0. I don't remember offhand what's coming with the Eva Unit 2, but that'll be out soon enough, and we'll take a look at that as well. But this kit is fantastic, highly recommended for you guys if you're Evangelion fans. It's definitely the best Evangelion Unit 1 kit that I've built, and I've really only built a couple of them. The HG I think is still pretty good, but I'd like to go back and build a couple of other older Bandai Eva Unit kits, and then maybe some of the Kotobukiya ones as well. I've really only built the Eva Unit 13 from Kotobukiya, and that was a really great kit, but that one had its issues as well. But I want to try out some of the other ones. So later on down the line, after I've built some more Eva kits, I have a better understanding of how to compare them. But for this one, I would say this is probably easy to say that this is the best one that's been out so far. But I don't know, what do you guys think? Have you built some of the other ones? Do you have a favorite? Do you have any Eva kits that you would contend is better than this one? Let me know, or make any suggestions for me if you guys have any suggestions or recommendations or kits to avoid, maybe any certain Eva kits that you would not recommend spending any time on. But let me know down in the comment section below, and if you do have any other questions about this kit, do feel free to let me know down there as well. Again guys, do check the link to USA Gundam Store there down below in the video description, and use my coupon code there, ZakuAurelius10, to save yourself 10%. And until next time guys, hope you're all having a great day. See you then, bye bye.